It's 9 a.m. sharp, and we start. We're going to have an exciting session today. We will talk about technology sovereignty. We will talk about the challenges faced by the oil and gas sector of Russia. We have an international panel at this session. Therefore, we will talk not just about the Russian challenges, but global challenges as well, and possible cooperation in the field of technology. But I'd like to start this session with the region, which is the backbone region in terms of oil and gas production. The region that for many years has been responsible for supplying the Russian budget, where we see a lot of innovations, a lot of new technologies being introduced. I'm referring to Khanty-Mansiysk Autonomous Region. Madam Komarova, the governor of the region, is with us, and we thank you for finding a slot in your busy schedule to join us. Madam Komarova, Yugra is the backbone for oil and gas production in Russia. You initiate many innovations and changes in the oil and gas sector. What kind of incentives you have to further develop oil and gas sector and adjacent sectors? Well, I have to agree with you, Oleg. You started off by placing a lot of responsibility on all of us. The way we work at this session, the way the entire Russian Energy Week will proceed. Indeed, our region, the Khanty-Mansiysk Autonomous Region, Yugra, well, just happens so due to geology, due to nature, is indeed the backbone and the core region in terms of hydrocarbon production. Well, obviously, is a major part of the hydrocarbons. APG, natural gas are also present. In fact, we are very rich in natural resources, be it fresh water, be it forests, water biology, resources, and so on. And I emphasize this, and I invite all of you who might be interested in developing and preserving natural resources to come to my region. Welcome. Now back to your question. In fact, I'm responding to a question already. We operate in three areas, broadly speaking. I'm referring to possible incentives for investors. First, it is the infrastructure, industrial infrastructure. And here I would like to refer to the 12 industrial parks that we have and that are already in the register of the Ministry of Industry, and the Special Economic Zone in the city of Nyagan, established last year by the decision of the Russian government. Now, this infrastructure serves as the foundation for investors to produce a broad range of products. And back to Nyagan, we have 5 residents already in that special economic zone. They are anchor investors, and they process timber, they produce furniture, and mind you, we will sell furniture. Be sure to order some furniture from us. We also have a data center there, and among other things, they produce equipment for oil and gas sector and for transport sector. As to other opportunities we provide in terms of science and research, well, the government of Russia decided to establish in the east of this country a second industrial park, the so-called Unity Park. It will be located in the city of Surgut, and it also has a technology park for residents who will register there as such. The areas specified by the government are as follows. Healthcare, oil and gas, geology, material science, material production, materials that could be used in the far north and in the Arctic area. And again, we welcome you there. We are putting together teams of experts who will be active in each of those areas. They will do research and they will do the implementation of the research outcomes. One other thing to note, and this is also something that has to do with the industrial infrastructure, and that is the system of vocational education and higher education, where we develop professionals for a variety of sectors and a variety of possible fields of employment. We are part of the national project of developing professionals. We have two clusters. Say in the city of Kogalim, I saw the students who benefit from this program, and I'm a firm believer in this project. It's a very effective project, and it is intended to help transfer knowledge in respective areas and for respective occupations. Now, the other thing I'd like to focus on is as follows. I do hope that next spring we'll be able to welcome students in the city of Kogalim, where we have a branch of the Perm State University. It's a national university. It's a cluster, and at the same time, it's a research facility. And they're heavily engaged in oil and gas production-related research and respective services. One interesting feature about this cluster is as follows. I mentioned vocational education, and I also talked about higher education. Well, these are coupled with research projects and efforts to implement the research outcomes together with the Lukoil oil company and Surgutneftegas oil company. On top of this, we have other facilities that engage in this kind of work. We are ready to welcome any entrepreneurial initiative. We are ready to provide support to such initiatives. We have come up with 12 support formats for an entrepreneurial project. And these support formats are used by different government levels, that is the regional level and municipal level. And we have a special online platform that entrepreneurs can get access to. We hope that all this will help develop our region and will support the development of this country. Against this backdrop, I also would like to mention that we are reaching out to startups. A couple of weeks ago, we completed a contest. Experts identified and selected 5 startups. The startups received some cash, and they were required to operate in Jugra. We are also supporting creative industries. A lot of people first think of coming to Jugra, then they come and stay, and we provide conditions for creative businesses to flourish. And again, we work across the entire range, starting from kids down to selling movies. And next March, we will host the 22nd International Movie Festival of debut works. And I want to emphasize that we reach out to those who come up with initial projects, the first ideas. And this is where we also will be happy to welcome you. Well, I hope this year investors will live up to our expectations, and they will meet their commitments, and we will be able to launch yet another industrial facility in the metallurgy sector. It's just an example. The range of possible areas and projects is very wide, and please count on us. Thank you very much, Madam Komarova. Just a couple of questions to clarify. An argument? Well, absolutely not. Look, you mentioned various professional development initiatives, and we're going to talk about state-of-the-art technologies today. And it's going to be three-prong approach: people, resources, and technologies. You mentioned that you provide resources. Are you talking about money? Not only money. Resources may be different, but when we talk about people, look, we have two representatives of the Russian Academy of Sciences, and I decided to reveal this from the very outset of the session. Now, when we speak about skills development, professional development, do you observe any interaction or cooperation with the Russian Academy of Sciences? For at any rate, this is a leading expert body of Russia. But of course, in order to continue with the oil and gas sector, well, no, we're not diverging from this sector. The fundamental science is paving the way for further oil and gas sector development. Right, let me get back to the research facility and technology center. All the areas specified by the government are pursued by this facility, and they have a unique set of skills. No other such research center is engaged in this. No other center deals with technologies and innovations in this field. So, yeah, absolutely. We work with the Academy hand in glove. Now, the other area... right. We do cooperate with the Russian Academy of Sciences on producing the academic history of our region, 8 volumes. Are about to be published. Well, seems like your cooperation is very diverse. Well, I'm sorry, and one more point about healthcare and health preservation. We emphasize this because traditionally it is believed that people residing in the far north and equivalent regions would have some health issues due to environmental conditions and natural environment. So we are heavily engaged in this. We work in a variety of fields, starting from the genes level. We are establishing a genomic lab. And simultaneously, we have a maternity and childhood center. In other words, we establish some closed systems whereby we are able to provide all the necessary expert support from the point of producing down to selling the products. Well, look, we have a unique project called the Federal Budget Project. Anything to boast with respect to this? Well, this is not our project, this is a federal project. And once again, I emphasize that we would be happy to be in the region to serve as a test bed for new technology, new equipment. Indeed, this is a federal project. And we believe that it has been effectively proceeding, and it's been promoted efficiently. I want to thank Mr. Novak, the Vice Prime Minister, who believes in this project, and our entire team helps this project to further develop. The project develops technologies, equipment, and approaches. One example, it might be somewhat easier to grasp, is as follows. We were dependent on imported equipment used to produce tight oil. We all realized that the costs there could be quite high. And the costs are mostly related to equipment and technologies. We were dependent on the imported equipment for 35 positions. Now we brought down the list to just 5 positions. Now this testing facility allows us to indeed test the techniques and technologies. We see fewer and fewer unique large deposits discovered in the world, and those mostly would have tight oil. We can speak about shale oil and other deposits, and this is the area that we consider to be very promising. And we want this project to be very useful for subsoil users to the extent possible. Thank you very much. Indeed, it is a unique site for the development of various technologies and a gravity point for people, for specialists. Many colleagues would know that in late September, the testing was completed for a new technology to produce oil, and we will be visiting the Khanty-Mansiysk region to do field testing of this technology. I'm referring to the fracture technology. Indeed, this is a basic technology that is used for tight oil production, and we've seen some successes already. Okay, let's move on. Let's move to the next region. We're joined by our distinguished colleague from Indonesia, Mr. Tutuka Raji, Director General of Oil and Gas.
Republic of Indonesia. You mentioned that there was recently a huge discovery of gas resources, and would you mind to speak about the gas utilization that you have in Indonesia and the key technological priorities in this area?
Thank you very much. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen. In the past several years, the discoveries gas resources, including the ENI and the central region of Asia, Indonesia, including we have Zarubeznyas there and producing actually very promising field there, and is western part of Indonesia is Tuna block. So realizing that abundant resources of gas in Indonesia, we have to utilize these resources for domestic and export needs as well. And it means also that we do not believe the scenario of 1.5 degree. Yeah, it's not realistic, because that means we cannot use gas, oil, and coal if we follow that scenario. What we are fighting now is not the fossil energy, but what we are fighting now is the emission of CO2. That's completely different. Using technology, we can reduce the emission, but we still use the fossil energy, right? So we're trying to produce as optimize as possible the gas resources that we in the ground. Consequently, we have to reduce the emission. That is, we have to apply the so-called carbon capture storage and carbon capture storage and utilization. Nowadays, in Indonesia, our country is a tropical country, there are 15 projects of CCS and CCUS. And one of them is a big project conducted by BP in eastern part of Indonesia. It's a big project. It's the CCS is about for CCS only is about CCS compression is about 2.6 billion USD. So we need to both to increase the production of the gas, but also to reduce the emission. All right. That's the first thing. However, the cost of CCS and CCUS is still, the hurdles is high. So in this opportunity, we would like to invite technology that can reduce the cost of this CCS, CCUS for you all here. Indonesia just started this kind of projects. We open to have a cooperation with you all. And we are also eager to connect with the oil companies there, also the state-owned oil companies in the country, to sharing the knowledge.
I'm sorry, but do you have any specific priorities, technological priorities in terms of CCUS? So, for example, like the amine technologies, transportation or storage. So what's going to be the key? So what's going to be the focus for this potential technological cooperation between countries?
All right, the components, the highest components of this cost is the capturing. Yeah, so if we can reduce the capturing, then I think it's reduce cost, a lot of cost. Transportation cost, because we are an archipelagic country. There are about 15,000 islands. So we have a lot of seas, oceans, and islands. Distribution is another big problem. Yeah. We cannot use only pipelines, but we have to use LNG to distribute in the country, especially in the eastern part of Indonesia. So technology and distribution is also is something that we can is opportunities to work together. For instance, like infrastructure, developing the terminals for LNG, regasification, and etc. So that's answering your question. So and then consequently, we have to have a solid program of downstreaming because we have to use this gas. We just we have some industry there, but the downstreaming is right now is the main priority of the government. Yeah. So we in fact also what sort of downstreaming industries in this country. Yeah. To best fits for the to support the domestic and also for the export. Some Chinese and Korean companies are there right now, developing industries, for instance, like glass industries, ammonia, and others, petrochemicals products. Then I would like to mention about something else about the gas. That is the Indonesia oil and gas fields history started about maybe more than 100 years ago by Dutch company. So the current oil fields there are mature fields, brown fields. So any technology in brown fields will be accommodated, and we will discuss, and we're trying to reverse back the current continuously declining production of oil. Yeah, that's very important. Okay, that's what I can say.
What is the recovery factor right now?
Right now, the national recovery factor is about 32%.
Okay, I
so
see.
Meaning primary is over. Mm-hmm. So we have to use water flooding and also enhance oil recovery.
Sure. It's actually very interesting because you combined the climate agenda and oil and gas priorities. Just last week there was a huge conference, ADIPEC, and indeed I would say like a half of the presentation at ADIPEC was related to the CCUS, hydrogen, or any other related topics for the energy transformation. So you mentioned CCUS. What about hydrogen in Indonesia? Is it a priority?
Not now, but in year 2030, I guess.
I see.
Use it. So we're trying to just study in the 31st phase.
I see. So in terms of just to summarize, please help me to clarify, this technological cooperation between countries potentially. So this is a recovery of the mature field, improve the recovery factor for the mature field,
right.
And distribution of natural gas, the different technologies, like the wide variety, in terms of the LNG and
right.
the small domestic use, the last mile question, and the CCS, right?
And downstreaming as well.
I see.
Yeah,
I see. Very nice.
Idea.
Again, trying to remember the discussion in ADIPEC. So there was a huge focus that on the global carbon market.
Okay.
And this was mentioned as a kind of the key enabler for the CCUS and direct air carbon absorption technologies, to reduce its cost. So do you believe that in the near future we will see the global carbon market?
Yes, because, we are in the region of surroundings by not as big as our country. For instance, like Singapore. Singapore produces a lot of emission, but they do not. Singapore doesn't have oil or gas fields. So where Singapore can store the CO2, I think Indonesia should have a role in this area. So by having a CCS hub in this country, and right now we're drafting the presidential decree for this, and this year we will finish with it, with a kind of cross-border CO2 for these regions. So and also we have already have the carbon effect in this country. So the trading there. So it's just started last month. Yeah. So,
and what's going to be the expected cost for the carbon for the break-even, to reach the break-even for those projects?
Well, actually, we still figure out that numbers, but because we also will, in California, we also implement the tax, but the tax is still very low. So we're taxing the surrounding area, for instance, like the Singapore.
So you started with a stick.
Yeah, like Singapore will increase the tax, and we see it something like that. So because it's, first of all, we will try to use the storage capacity in the country, because we have huge storage CO2 capacity. Just for the existing reservoir, the storage capacity is about 4.3 gigaton, but the aquifer could range up to 400 gigaton, according to Rystad. So we have huge capacity there. So it's it's something that we need to use this and to help the region for this.
Thank you so much for the interesting discussion, and you definitely enrich with some flavor of the energy transition, this topic. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, colleagues, we had this very interesting discussion, and now we're going to discuss more traditional things. And Oleg, taking into consideration what was mentioned by the previous speaker and the large number of presentations saying that the era of gas is almost over, is in decline. So what are the priorities that Gazprom has? Well, thank you for your question. Before we talk about priorities, we should talk about the setting of the goals. And if we say that the era of gas is in decline, that means we shouldn't discuss the priorities. On the other hand, if we understand that it's not exactly so, or it's not so, then we can discuss the priorities when we're talking about setting the goals and the direction of our movement. And you say, well, the era of gas is in decline. So what is the basis? What is the basis of this statement? You all know really well that we have this International Energy Agency, which is making the forecast, is creating certain scenarios of the development of global economy, and those forecasts were also used as the foundation for decision-making in world economy and also in European economy. And the question was asked, well, is it possible today to take IEA focus seriously? Yes. So the organization is, well, but I am going just to make a quote, don't read Western reports, because today you can say that Western reports are not independent. It's difficult to say that they are independent and impartial, because there are lots of examples that we encounter today. And you know the term that we had, well, why you, Oleg, decided to ask that question. So that's the movement towards the end of era of oil and gas, accelerated energy transition, getting rid of oil and gas. We should get just CO2 neutrality by 2050, which is possible when you get rid of fossil fuel, notwithstanding the fact that you have, of course, fossil fuels. Well, gas is one thing and coal is quite different. And what's the most important, that these things were imposed, those scenarios were imposed as the ultimate truth. Accordingly, the countries made decisions. Investors reacted, banks invested, investors stopped investing in the development of oil and gas, and the level of investment in the course of 2 years is a minimum in the history, 15 years of oil and gas investment. So this is the lowest. It became the basis for the crisis that we watch in global energy today. And this is not happening by chance. We believe that this not really far-sighting policy, 2022 demonstrated a lot to certain companies, and certain companies became much more active. So now natural gas is becoming part of the strategy, long-term strategy of the companies. Now they're not looking at it as the fuel that we should get rid of. Now it's called the fuel of the transition period, which is recognized in the documents. Regarding Gazprom, we have our policy, it's logical policy, and natural gas is a mighty resource. It's environmentally clean resource, and our policy is such that we continue working with the fields that we have, and the ratio of replenishing the reserves is more than 1, and we know that we actually face certain challenges. Traditional mature fields are different, so the chemical formula is different, and the territories are different, and we are basing our technological priorities on the challenges of today. And then we're going to have the processing industry, and we have to take into consideration all the special features of the fields of the Far East, and we have to work with the technologies appropriately. So, answering your question, number one, the time of gas and oil is, we still have them as priorities. New fields and the current fields, they create certain challenges, and we are dealing with these challenges, working with the Russian Academy of Sciences, working with different institutions, and with the companies whose leaders are ready to present what's necessary for us to deal with our tasks. Talking about priorities, we could discuss digitalization for a long time. We could have a separate session, separate discussion, but actually, if we look at the big picture, so that's what I described. Thank you so much. And coming back to the previous week, we had ADIPEC and we had addresses of representatives of African countries. So they say, what kind of energy transition you're talking about? And natural gas is like a miracle for us. We want to use more and more natural gas. And Mr. Aksyutin, I would like to get one thing clarified. We're talking about state-of-the-art technologies, and technological sovereignty that we've been discussing for a long time. And this issue deserves our attention. It's of great interest regarding striking the balance. In the Soviet Union, the Russian Federation got through the issues of import substitution, technological sovereignty. Now the nuance is as follows. On the one hand, we have to provide for a non-stop functioning of the existing infrastructure that's based on use of foreign technologies, also competences of people who are going to conduct maintenance, spare parts. On the other hand, it's technological development. What is to be done? What kind of technologies are going to become the basic ones? But here we're talking about cooperation with the Russian Academy of Sciences and having our Russian solutions from scratch, which requires resources, time, people, personnel that's not always there, or we have to find some ready-made solutions from, temporary friendly countries. So where is the balance? How to strike that balance? The recent 2 years show that technological independence is of great importance, is of principal importance. We have two approaches. One approach is, well, let's see, these countries are friendly, these countries are not friendly. Friendly countries are going to help us, and we'll do something that's profitable and quick. It's not the right kind of approach when we talk about technological dependency. Of course, we must rely on developing our own technologies and our own industries. And you cannot do it overnight. It's a lot of systemic work that touches upon lots of types of activities of many organizations, many enterprises. It's challenging. It's challenging, but it's not going to work any other way. We could have a transition period. We could use equipment from accessible countries that we work with. It's normal. But still, we should actually look at the developing of basic equipment, Russian equipment. What is to be done? It's quite evident. We must set the priorities, what we really need here and now, also tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and we have to make the effort. And I can say that regarding Gazprom and import substitution, it's not something that we started 1 year or 2 years ago. A lot of work that we started in the 1990s, 1996, together with Rostech, we created our own Russian gas pumping set of equipment, the Urals, and now we work with the same organization, making new sets of equipment, PD14, AL41. Also, we have set of equipment called 1625, and these are the solutions that are unique for our country. And we are dealing with our own tasks. Also, regarding pipes, a lot of things started in the year 2000, and now the pipes are ours, made in Russia. And they produce more and more various pipes. And now I know that we had the task together with people creating pipes. We had to create pipes of the new generation that could survive the pressure 150 atmospheres. And our colleagues actually managed to do it. And now we actually could have the equipment in having greater distances for sets of equipment. So we have this ripple effect. And the ripple effect started the appropriate metal rod production, also compressing equipment, related infrastructure, and that was a great impetus for the development of a lot related industries.
I'm referring to transport objects, production sites, and distribution networks. Well, I can give you a lot of examples when systemic efforts help achieve independence, including technology independence, at least at this stage, with regard to some principal matters. Now, in terms of gas distribution, we're pretty confident with this. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next speaker, Daria Borisova, member of the board, managing director of Sibur company. What modern technologies you employ in petrochemical sector? Good morning, colleagues. In terms of the petrochemical sector, technology independence for us is manifested in three areas. First, stability and continuity of our production, that is chemicals, catalysts, spare parts, to maintain this continuity. Second, a similar kind of support with regard to some solutions and additives for the next production and processing stage. We are not producing the final product. What we are producing is something that is further processed to obtain final product. So, say if polyethylene is missing, there will be no packaging material, and so on. And the third, maintaining the ability for further development and growth. Let me give you some examples. This dilemma, that is either everything imported or everything is domestic, we have to strike a balance here. The golden medium. You know, the truth is always somewhere in between, depending on a lot of factors, including the readiness of this integrated chain. Let me give you one example. A project we've been working on. It's about localization of catalyzers to produce polyolefins. In fact, this is something that may ensure technology independence for the petrochemical sector, not just for my company, but for the entire Russia and the CIS. This is also something that might help us create export potential to deliver to other countries. We implement this project together with the Russian Scientific Foundation and three research teams, and a representative of one of such teams is with us. Besides, if we compare the volume of investments provided to the fundamental science for producing recipes for catalysts and investments needed to scale up, the difference is more than 10 times. In other words, in order to come up with a commercializable research product, we have to have an infrastructure in place. First, to pilot and scale up this product, and second, to test this product and implement the product into our production lines. Say, if you use a new catalyst, the products have to be tested before they reach final users, and we have to pilot this process. We will not be doing this at large-scale facilities producing millions of tons of products. We're going to use some pilot units or facilities. In order for this chain to come into existence, we have to work real hard. A lot of recipes are already available, and we are trying to come up with the next generation recipes. You know, the truth is that you can never be in a catching up position. If your objective is just to substitute what is already available, you are likely to fail. It takes 5 to 7 years to develop something. While you're catching up, others will move on and will be further away, and you will be relegated to the catching up role. You will be outperformed all the time. Now, if we are to localize, well, of course, we have to substitute some products right now, but in parallel, we have to be able to outpace others who will be in a position to produce polyolefins with different properties. One other example of different type, if I may, it's a less sophisticated example. Butyl lithium, which is used for elastomers and polymers. It could be used for automotive industries, for tire production, and so on. And again, we had some limited supplies from Europe, from the United States, and we risked stopping production altogether. We used our previous Soviet experience, we used the experience of China, and we came up with our own technology. And it's better in terms of energy efficiency and in terms of environmental friendliness, for there are no runoffs, so there is no waste. And we have one of the most advanced solutions available in the market, and we're localizing this product. Look, I have a lot of questions to ask, but I will have to restrain myself. Yet, question number one. We talked about the balance. We talked about how to strike the balance between using domestic versus external resources. Let me rephrase the question. How to strike a balance between, well, when we talk about technological development, between private money, using private money, and using government financial resources. We say that the government should do some fundamental research, and then we would be ready to implement the results if the results are better, and if there are many, many ifs. Now, how to strike the balance here? In fact, I think I will be repeating myself. The picture is never black and white. Back to my example. If we were to say, look, the government, you got to develop those catalysts and then we will start implementing them. Well, this would not have taken us far. We would have had some nice articles published in academic journals, and that would be it. If the government understands what is needed, what kind of quantity is needed, and if the government, in parallel with the fundamental research, supports us in developing infrastructure for commercialization, that's the only way to succeed. The key success factor is to properly integrate the efforts of the various sectors and in achieving readiness to embrace this new product. But for our experience in petrochemical sector and our experience with various chemical processes, this would have been mission impossible for us. So we as a partner have to be mature enough in order to embrace and commercialize such a product, especially when we are trying to outpace the market. One other question that I have to ask, especially with respect to the various nuances we talked about today. You have a vast program, you have a very good performance with respect to circular economy solutions. I wonder if you were dependent on imported technologies, and if so, how to address this now. The circular technologies is an area where we can, I say wrong bottles here. We could have had bottles produced of recycled materials. I mean, this is where we can collect, say, bottles or shampoo, little bottles, something that we can collect, clean, crush, and introduce the resulting products into our technology process, so that we have final products having the same properties as the initial materials. Or we can think of downcycling, for instance. And this is where we have a huge R&D center called Polylab in Skolkovo. And this Polylab deals with various mixes, compounding, recipes, testing possible solutions for films, for bottles, and so on. And this is where they can mix up recycled components with the initial components, fresh components. We have our brand developed by this Polylab that contains both primary and secondary polymers in a certain proportion. This is one area where we've been pretty active. There is another area, and that is about piloting and scaling up technologies, the so-called chemical recycling. In the mechanical recycling, we can use some 5 to 15% of resulting products, something that we're able to collect and clean. Other solid waste components will have to be recycled chemically. And then we have to use pyrolysis or other technologies to extract plastics. Now, here we would like to benefit from the experience of other countries, and we also would like to come up with our own solutions. And again, this is not either-or situation. There's nothing wrong in buying something which is already available, something off the shelf, but also we could, in parallel, do something on our own. Right, and this is where we see some benefits of catching up. Let's recall the situation of 1920s, 1930s. This is where we leaned heavily on foreign experience, and we borrowed foreign technologies and solutions to reach a level of technology independence so much needed by the young Soviet Republic. Mr. Yakov Ginsburg, CEO of the Irkutsk Oil Company. We mentioned technology leadership. We mentioned state-of-the-art technologies that have to be based on competences, people. Let me ask you about people. You're in a unique situation. You're in a unique position. Your company is a fast-growing one, fast-developing one, but you are located in a very special region. How do you bring in talent and skills that are so much needed in order to introduce state-of-the-art technology solutions that you employ? Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. Morning, Oleg. Thank you for your question. I wouldn't claim that we're in an enclave. Rather, we right in the middle of the continent, in the Irkutsk region. At least this is where our key production facilities are located. Let me give you some figures with respect to our company. Currently, we employ about 16,000 people, but some 5 to 6 years ago, we had one half of this. And obviously, this inflow was made possible thanks to tapping the labor available in the Irkutsk region and adjacent regions and the rest of the country. We use shifts, and more than 60 Russian regions are present among our employees who work in such shifts. Over the past 5 or 6 years, when we doubled our labor size, well, it's not about oil production. Oil production is governed by various international agreements, and I'm referring mostly to new areas like gas processing and so on. We invest a lot, we build a lot, and we operate a lot. Last year, we commissioned 5 new gas processing plants. This year, we're going to commission another one, and next year, we will commission 2 more, including a plan to produce polymer materials. Look, I can only admire at this pace. It's pretty impressive. Well, indeed. Well, I'm being very calm when talking about this, but obviously these achievements have been backed up by hard work of many people, true enthusiasts. And back to numbers. I love numbers. Again, over the past 5 to 6 years, the share of local labor, again, has doubled, almost doubled, and we're pretty proud of it. We understand that we have to monitor the sources of our personnel. Now we require increasingly high-skilled labor. We move toward high added value products area. We speak about natural gas processing, helium, dry gas. We're going to talk about polymers tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow we're going to talk about organic and inorganic chemistry and plants that are able to produce respective products. And obviously, Irkutsk lacks some skills, lacks some professions, starting from chemists, technologists, down to blue-collar workers. And this is something we need badly, given the pace of your growth. And as I mentioned, we doubled the size of our labor over the past few years. Now, where one should start? Well, first we have to monitor whether our employees are happy. People have to be satisfied with their work conditions. And we obviously also experience some drain of, say, 7 to 8% of personnel. For people move, their families move. But you also have to be able to produce local skills pool. We have our academy in Irkutsk, where we embrace high school students. In some other regions, we support high school graduates. We established cooperation with a number of universities. Recently, during the Tyumen oil farm, we signed an agreement with the local university. And again, let me give you some numbers. For instance, last year, in terms of this diversification effort, we tried a new format with our Institute of Technology. We have about 100 students there who combined studying with working in shifts at our company. Well, of course, there were some drop-offs, some 30 to 40% dropped off. They realized that that is not the path they would like to follow. But again, this is more about working in shifts. But if we'd like to see more skilled labor coming to our city, to our company, well, it's not just our efforts that are needed, and not just pay that matters. In the city of Vorkuta, we build housing for our employees. We are at stage 1. We are done with the design stage. This year we will select the actual contractor who would build the housing. This is just one aspect. Well, of course, we need to have more housing available, but this is where the government should step in. We have to have infrastructure in place. I'm not just talking about the airport in the city of Ust-Kut, which is able to receive only small aircraft. We have to improve the road connectivity. Those are issues that have to be tackled at the federal level. And some of those issues have to be addressed together by the business community, by the regional authorities, and by the federal authorities.
We have to work and take really good care of SMEs, because we have more population, we have more processing industry, and we have more and more medium and small enterprises that are getting involved in our process. So I can provide thousands of examples. We try to provide certain grants for SMEs, and some of those are social grants, some of them are just business grants, and we need it in order to move forward so that people could live there with their families, so that it's not just for workers coming in shifts, but we want Ust-Kut to be the city for families. We can see the experience of Tobolsk. They've been there. And we must do something like that in this lustrum. Well, thank you so much. And now I have this Soviet example. Before we had young Communist League people going to the new construction sites with enthusiasm. So now it's also enthusiasm. Also, in the Soviet Union, people were going to faraway areas to earn a lot of money. Yes, I hear you. You are developing infrastructure, you train local personnel. Why should a person leave his area and go to your place? 1, 2, 3. What should attract a highly professional person so that he would say, I want to work here? You must understand that our projects, they are limitless. The horizon, is never-ending horizon, and sky is the limit. So the technologies, state-of-the-art technologies, cutting-edge technologies, world-class technologies, we must create technologies that are going to be replicated everywhere else. And number one, from my point of view, is enthusiasm, because today in Ust-Kut we have industrial tourism. We have bloggers, journalists, young people, students who are looking at Irkutsk factory of polymers. So 8,200 people. You can just fly around in the helicopter. You can see how huge this production facility is going to be. You can go to some very specific modules, chemical industry. You can have a look at the scale of the event. So you feel, and when we get the feedback, and it's not just people who are going to work there tomorrow, but people also could be interested. They could travel not just to Irkutsk, but some other place. They are really just surprised because, for example, delivery of main equipment, 12,000 kilometers, using the Northern Passage and then using Lena River. So you have to reload it, then different piers, also very heavy equipment taking those loads. You must feel it, you must see it, and you can live for the sake of it. So enthusiasm, salaries, wages and salaries must be competitive. That's an absolute fact. A person must be able to earn money. And Ust-Kut has the potential, from the point of view of environmental tourism, Lena River, beautiful place. Siberian rivers are beautiful in general, and Ust-Kut is the city which is situated along Lena River. So you look at the river from every window. Here we don't have a river view, but in Ust-Kut you can see the river from any place. Number 3 is infrastructure. We must have movie theaters, retail chains, kindergartens, schools, but that's federal program. And we must also have some special features that are typical for the city. For example, today we have 36,000 population, and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, together with our project, and not just our project, so it's going to be 50,000 people. Even more when we look at Greater Ust-Kut today, it's 50,000 people, and those people must understand what's going to happen on the weekend. Where can you ski? But the ski is to be renovated. We have to look at the infrastructure, sports infrastructure, social infrastructure, entertainment infrastructure, cafes, restaurants, services. So it's not just one barbershop for the whole of Irkutsk. We have to look at the population, which business is going to be in demand. Thank you so much, and I am sure that half of the room is inspired and they would like to go to Ust-Kut. You are invited. Yeah, thank you. And now Anton Maximov, who is going to be responsible for everything that's going on in the Academy of Sciences of Russia. And today at our session, several major companies are present. So from your point of view, what is the role of the Russian Academy of Sciences in outlining state-of-the-art solutions for oil and gas sector? And what about the challenges that you are not really always successful in dealing with? Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I wouldn't talk just about Russian Academy of Sciences. I would like to talk about fundamental sciences in Russia, which is not part of applied research. And here we are implementing the projects connected with several directions of development. So they correspond with what was said by Daria and Oleg. The first direction is to create the elements of technology that are necessary to exist here and now. You are talking about the catalysts that are presented for different projects, including Tetneft, and a lot of institutes of the Russian Academy of Sciences are participating. A lot of universities are participating in this research. So here we're also talking about low-tonnage chemical industry, and our participation must provide for the creation of newest products. At least they should be competitive, but maybe midterm they should be better than anything in the market. So this is the first direction. It's quite simple regarding the volume because you're talking about different elements of technology. On the other hand, it's of principal importance for the country. And the second direction of our activities is connected with return of the technologies that existed here at the time of the Soviet Union, or working with the new technologies that emerge in Russia now, working with friendly countries. And our role is we can help companies to deal with the technologies from the technological point of view, and maybe we could create something of our own that would make a breakthrough forward. But here we're catching up, and sometimes we have to recreate what was created a long time ago. Like somebody said, well, why should we fail if Shell company did it 40 years ago and they were successful? But we shouldn't just copy what was made by Shell, but we should do something of our own. And number 3 is creation of Russian technologies that are significantly different from what exists in the market and that are at the cutting edge of the development of science. We have a major project regarding hydroconversion. So these are the technologies that could become not just fuel extracting, but also petrochemistry, part of petrochemistry processes. And the technology, you talked about fracking technology, and here the task is not to repeat something done by others, but create something new. This is the technology that's being outlined in Kazan, which is connected with the chemical transformation. And actually, the testing is going on, but it's something which is new. So also frontier technology is we are working together with Gazprom company. So this is the technology of EU fuels from CO2. So the project that we started some time ago because of Oleg Yevgenyevich and also Mr. Khadjiev. Yesterday we had the pilot project, and when I visited IAEA, we learned that one of the directions of the development, which is the vision of lots of our colleagues, so to use electrolysis for just creating fuel. Such projects exist in the West, and they're state-of-the-art, they're frontier technology. We have a lot of oil, we have lots of volumes of oil. For us, it's the future. But now we're accumulating competences, so we're not going to get synthetic methane. No, nobody wants synthetic methane. But I was surprised, but there were several presentations regarding synthetic methane. Well, it was 10 years ago. Now we're talking about synthetic fuel. And I was really amazed that people are talking about a shortage of methane. That's why I would say these are the 3 developments, and each of them has problems in interaction with the company. I would call those working problems. And there is a procedure of the company regarding R&D. For example, Gazprom Neft, industrial innovations, and they have quite good work regarding different universities and organizations that are under scientific guidance, supervision of the Academy of Sciences, but each company has rules of its own. And sometimes we should think about uniting those companies. There is one more program, because sometimes you have to deal with the tasks for several companies, and it could make sense to join the effort of different companies, including research in the format of open innovations. On our part, I'd like to say that in the Academy of Sciences, now we have the new type of work of research councils that are responsible for scientific assessment. those groups include representative of the business or of the companies involved in applied research. And here we have certain mechanism regarding future selection of the projects for also government funding. And also we have one single approach to how to interact with the company. We know who can do what realistically, and sometimes bidding is not necessary. It's necessary to unite, and highly important for the company to make the decision to have testing grounds. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, even when you have some kind of applied technologies, experimental sites. Maybe in this case we should have some kind of financial benefits and privileges, because the risks are really high for the company. Is that the only aspect regarding the role of the state? The state also should contribute to the development of what we call technological business. What do you mean contribute? Well, the government, we must have government-owned technological companies that could create the newest technologies and implement them in the market, because the development of the technologies is connected with the fact that there is business regarding technologies. Technologies must be created and they must be sold once, twice, 3 times, and then we'll have a large flow of such technologies. If the technology is created by one company and utilized in that company only, this is a one-time solution, element of the solution. So if you have the technology of getting acetylene from methane, you can replicate it. If you replicate it, you actually have a return on investment. Otherwise, somebody should bear the costs. Thank you so much, and I believe that we had very fruitful discussion, and next time we should have a special question, special session regarding cooperation. So Oleg Zhuravlyov, Director General of Wormholes implementation. So what are the new technologies that you suggest to substitute similar foreign products? Oleg was just right, and Russia in principle is the country where a major role is played by oil and gas sector. So we must use the potential that we possess, and we shouldn't just follow general trend, and we shouldn't just do something which is in fashion and not useful for us. And we have to use the potential which was created, but we shouldn't forget about studying. We should study from the companies that already left Russia, the companies that provided technologies that we lacked. And now we started implementing those technologies step by step. So here we're talking about extraction ratio, and so from the technology of just the end of cycle for the drill. So these technologies could be used to lower environmental damage and get the indicators regarding some trendy direction. So the technology of outlining, technology of use of certain classic results that we possess. If we switch to something new, it's going to be done from scratch, which is not right. Also, I'd like to emphasize what was mentioned before. Yes, fundamental sciences. I was involved in fundamental sciences before. After that, I was involved in technologies, and I understand the structure. I understand how it's working. I'm sure that fundamental sciences shouldn't outline technologies. We should outline approaches, ideas that are workable. You have just 1 minute, and accordingly, technological companies and engineering potential must implement those technologies. First of all, the role of the state. The role of the state is in creating demand for new technologies. For
instance, we develop new technologies, we patent new technologies, we implement them. And very often, in many cases, we provide solutions free of charge to all companies to have those solutions tested. We demonstrate huge efficiency, very good performance. Yet, after this bidding is announced and a different company that had not been behind this technology would win this bidding exercise. So we have to have a need for technologies. We have to have a range of such technologies. And technologies should be developed not upon somebody's order, but depending on the need. The SMEs can help identify the new technologies, something that they need, and big companies should help implement those technologies. Thank you very much, Oleg. I want to thank all the panelists. I do hope that the energy we've demonstrated during this session will be preserved throughout our Russian Energy Week. I want to wish you all very successful participation and fruitful work. I want to get back to Yakov's phrase when he said that new technology, state-of-the-art technologies, is something that you feel like worth living for. So let's do this and let's work for the benefit of this country. Thank you.